Okay, so here we are at Avatar Interop meetup number 3. Let's go over some of the stuff that we talked about last time. There was kind of a break in between. We discussed how wearables from one platform aren't necessarily being recognized on another, such as from crypto voxels to VR chat. That process involves baking together the assets with the avatar pre-upload, and in doing so, you kind of destroy metadata about that NFT, if like the CryptoVoxels wearables. So there's no way to inspect things in other worlds. There's no standardized system, but it does kind of act as an interesting example in that way. And also, just what kind of metadata could we include with wearables or avatars themselves? We also discussed kind of a higher level purpose of what M3 2.0 is, and boiling it down to two main activities: the creation of content and documentation to go along with it. Right now there's onboarding to get a member badge, in which if you take notes during meetups, if you're a camera operator, if you create art, help out with virtual world building, or complete the Get Good guide, you can get a badge, which is a POAP, and that can unlock channels into the future. And the epic goal that we want to do this year is journeying across the metaverse, spending quality time in different discords and virtual world platforms, camping out, making an impression. As we jump in there, you can kind of see like a slide of Mad Max over there, kind of an exaggeration, but I really want us to kind of be branded and dripped out before we arrive in the next town. And when we do, share stories, sightsee, exchange gifts with the locals, and find ways of building bridges as we build out the railway system, the roads and networks between these virtual worlds, the new Silk Road. Here's kind of a overview of ways of getting that badge, and it's a wearable for your wearable, so you can rock it on anything. We've got it used as stickers for your accessories, your backpacks. You could have it on your avatar like as a patch, or button or pin, and eventually we could even do like physical productions of these things as well. So here's kind of like an overview of the worlds that we want to eventually make a journey across with our custom avatars, dripped out with badges signifying the types of things that we've done, places we've been, stories that we can tell about it. And yeah, so that's kind of the high level goal. While we're taking this journey, we'll have a camera crew with us. We'll be taking notes and documentation, have events, kind of like a metaverse world tour. Thing I want to talk about for this meetup is MetaLoot, in which it's a 3D loot collection. Loot is a metadata NFT in which it kind of really shook up the world 6 months ago when it dropped. It was free to mint, gas only, and all it was white text on black background. It was not a JPEG, it was on-chain SVG NFTs. And when it was released, people were confused at first, but then started buying them up and then creating the art for it. So there was no art, no direction, and it kind of turned into catnip for everybody in crypto Twitter. It's crazy. It did like almost 300 mil in sales volume for just this white text on black background. So what's going on with it, essentially? Instead of building the game and then releasing it, Loot is giving you ingredients in which you can create whatever you want with it. There are no platonic ideals of what Loot looks like. There's no dev team. It's completely kind of decentralized world building. Um, and so the actual NFTs, they're just signifying a bag of things that you can, kind of like what you would get in an RPG. Um, and people start to build on top of it. It's a really great selling point for composability, which is something that I want M3 to shortcut in terms of knowledge and wisdom. Aligning with this community, we can really quickly get to the heart of what makes NFTs really interesting, such as metadata, not the art, composability, and just decentralized coordination, because there's no dev team to this. There's no kind of official roadmap. It's also a selling point for L2 adoption in terms of game dev, and every Ethereum wallet also has a bag. So they started with 8,000 bags, but then they expanded the collection with different release kind of mechanisms. One in which it's free to mint, and the other one, it's every single Ethereum address has a synthetic loot bag that you cannot trade. And here's an example of some art that people have created for it. So, you've got a lot of 2D art representations of it. Hyperloot is something that is releasing this week, in which they're doing PFPs and 3D arts for it. People have made, it's kind of like visualizers, what they call this genre. And that's kind of like the hello world of it. So at a kind of fundamental level, what makes it so interesting and great for a maker community is that value is derived from the bottom up versus the top down. Instead of typical NFT projects in which the creator releases an NFT project, and then in order to generate more value for the community and the project, they, it's very top down, like one airdrop or roadmap items that the core dev team works on. And the loot approach is more so like you are given building blocks, and then you could create whatever you want on top of those building blocks. Game, avatars, novels. So the thing that people have been doing mostly, here's more of a visualization to compare the two. Typically, you have, creators selling something, and then later to create more value, they'll airdrop more stuff to it. Kind of like, Larva Labs with Punks, and then Meebits and all the other NFT collections. But with metadata NFTs, it's selling building blocks, and then you can build whatever on top of it. And that's what a lot of people have been doing. And we want to, in order to attract and build a community of makers, what interests makers are essentially things to make things with. Like Make Magazine sells all sorts of electronics and single board computers and stuff that people can make things with. This is kind of the equivalent. So not only this is a way to kind of reach out to builders and makers, but it's a way that we have something to build with. And it's not just about this collection, it's about the people that are aligned with these sorts of values. And what MetaLoot is right now, if you look at the current visualizers, none of them are really game dev ready to build stuff with. And so it kind of stops there. You can't really do too much customization and building with just a 2D static image in terms of the visualizers. We need game dev ready assets such as 3D models or sprite sheets, and we don't have that offering yet until now. And that's what MetaLoot is a composable CC0 collection of wearables that we can equip to our avatars. And we can use this as a way to explore interoperability for avatars and animations. And instead of, going for like a avatar collection, this is something that can work across all sorts of different collections. And all of it has been already 3D modeled optimized and beautifully detailed by the Webaverse art team. From weapons to the wearables, it's all there, attached to a standard VRM armature. And the quality that appears is just really nice. You can see that the art team has spent a good deal in making even the accessories just high quality items, because it's easier to go from high quality and then gracefully degrade to in terms of metaverse LOD other forms. So here's some of the weapons and accessories. Even the ring, which is a very tiny item, has a lot of detail to it. And that's another interesting part about it, is we don't have too many examples of wearables that are attached to armatures. And I feel like this is a great opportunity to explore what possibilities this can unlock. Could you attach animations to the wearables? Can this make it easy to equip the wearables? And this can lead from one thing to next. I've been playing some Elden Ring lately, and I'm super inspired to really get into first being able to equip loot. How do we even discover some loot bags if you don't have it? Maybe instead of just claiming on the website, you have to defeat some monsters and then it drops your loot bag. There's a lot of fun ideas that we could really explore with this, and it makes research and development more interesting in that way, and guide us towards open interoperable standards. So here's kind of a look and just at how Webaverse is doing wearables. This whole process, I've been researching wearable Interop, and when it comes to just doing what you're seeing right here, it's so easy for and how it looks there. But if you were to try and do this in VR chat, it would be hours, an afternoon of work and installing dependencies and basically learning Unity's animation system from scratch. And here's kind of a look at that. And right now, whenever I'm building on these closed platforms, I'm thinking about the bridge between closed and open. Can I bring my VRM with a sword into Unity/VR chat and save 50 clicks that way? With it, with the physics constraints and the ability to have my sword on my back and then equip it in my hand seamlessly. Or, if I already have it set up in VR chat, can I export such back into open platforms and do the same thing? So really interested in wearable Interop in that aspect. It's not quite working, but it does seem like it can with some programming. And here's a look at equipping. There's some issues to work through, especially when it comes to helmets. I think Craftopia is a really good place to look at it and how they're handling headgear accessories, because they have custom VRM avatar support and a way to kind of configure that before playing the game. But yeah, just in terms of equipping wearables from the world, that's already a thing. Can we make that a thing across more platforms? That's something that we can explore in Avatar Interop meetups. And this whole collection has also been voxelized, so we can, we already have something that can work in platforms like CryptoVoxels, maybe the Sandbox in the future. Here's a look between the headgear accessories, where we have the helmets here in 3D model GLB format, and then the same thing in voxel format. I'll just kind of go between them to show you. So all of them already have been voxelized. Everything is ready to go. Minting is nearly ready. And this is going to be kind of the first collection besides the POAP for M3, and to align with a community that really digs into the heart of really interesting aspects of Web3. And that's all I have to share. Open to Q&A.